Okay, so here's something that's really important for everyone to understand, is that on day one of a Trump presidency, we're gonna have a national abortion ban. I'm gonna explain how, but if you only watch the first 5 seconds of this video, just know that ban is coming. And I say this in light of the fact that right now, Republicans are experiencing huge blowback about the decision in Arizona and the decision in Florida. And so they're all scrambling and they're backpedaling. And even Trump came out yesterday and said that now, contrary to everything he said in the past, he will not sign a national abortion ban into law. Now, setting aside the fact that he's a pathological liar, he doesn't need to sign a national abortion ban into law, and this is why he's being very slippery when he says that. Because there's already a bill on the books that will do just that, that will effectively ban abortion. It was passed around the same time as the bill in Arizona. It's a similar situation, an old bill that hasn't been enforced in a long time. But this is a national bill. It's not a state-level bill. The bill is called the Comstock Act. You can Google it. It is not technically an abortion ban bill, but what it does do is that it bans the mailing of any material, thing, medicine, anything that can be used to procure an abortion. It's a bill that's been on the books for a really long time, but it hasn't been enforced for over 100 years, right? Everyone has just sort of said, like, that's a crazy bill, but it never got repealed, just like the Arizona bill. It never got taken off the books. So similar to what we just saw in Arizona, you have a Republican governor who appoints a Republican Supreme Court and a Republican state legislature that says, we want this bill to be enforced. And you have all the makings for what just happened. Suddenly, it's back. And that is what we are going to see happen with the Comstock Act. And I say this with great confidence because the people who are funding Trump's run and shaping the agenda for his second term have already said this is what they will do. The first thing the Comstock Act will do is immediately outlaw the mailing of any abortion medication, which is used now in 60% of American abortions, right away. And this is under penalty of going to prison, right? So we've already seen that when doctors are in peril of, going to jail, it's not that they're not brave, they're just practical. They don't want to go to jail, and so they stop performing abortions or doing the things that will imperil them. This is why, even though we have all these abortion bans with these exceptions, doctors will rarely perform the abortions that would be the exceptions because they're afraid, right? So we have to remember how much fear will play into this. So this Comstock Act says you cannot mail anything that will procure an abortion. So day one, Trump appoints a Republican attorney general, and the Republican attorney general says we're going to enforce the Comstock Act, and abortion medication goes away. But the bill also can be interpreted to mean that you can't even mail surgical equipment that can be used in an abortion. But how would they know? They'll search the mail. They can get a warrant and they can do that. And all they need to do is do it a few times, and everybody will be terrified into submission. And that is why Trump can say with some amount of truthfulness, not a lot, because he still would sign that ban if it were passed, that he's not going to sign a national abortion ban. He doesn't need to. That ban effectively already exists, and the only thing that is stopping it from being enforced is reasonable attorneys general saying, we're not going to enforce that bill. Last thing I'll say is, if you don't believe me, Democrats have been trying to bring up a bill that would repeal the Comstock Act just to be safe, and Republicans have said that they will kill that bill. Now, why would they do that if they didn't mean to enforce it, should they get power back? It is incredibly important that we understand that whatever guardrails were on Trump in a first term will be gone in a second term. So if you think that we are going to have any rights in any state, if he is elected again, if enough people stay home or vote for Robert Kennedy, there will be no guardrails and there will be no abortion. So we just need to be really clear about that. Spread the word.